wanna do a podcast? We make a darn good team. It always goes without a hitch. Let's head to Twitch and go start up the stream. Do you wanna do a podcast? It's the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Let's start now. Hi everyone and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Come?
All right, I'll do my own bit for myself.
Oh wait, no silence.
We're doing it. Get off the road. Hey Dave,
Hey, Boater.
what do you call a tavern brawl among party members?
A good campaign end.
Infighting.
Have you ever played Red Dragon Inn?
No, I have not. No, wait, I have? I'm not sure.
All right, I think we should try to play that. You know what? We're gonna play that off stream so that we can do the version of it where it's a game about after the quest you're trying to drink, and then you try to either get the rest of your party to spend all their gold or get kicked out of the bar.
Okay.
By getting beaten up.
Then I have not played it. It's been on my list.
It's a lot
for
of
while.
fun. It's a very bad, hey, IRL, let's also match the drinks. But you can do it, and you can get people very sick doing it. So make sure you're 21 or your country's equivalency of legal drinking age. Find your friends, throw all your car keys outside, and then play.
Yeah, we'll have to try that out. Anyway, hey everyone, welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. I'm Boater.
I'm Dave Man. Just checking on a story
Yep.
to make sure there's been no
Yeah, absolutely.
updates. But
Yeah.
sorry, to those of you that don't know, I'm a big Buffalo Bills sports fan. Haha, sports ball, I know. But last night on Monday Night Football, one of the players on the Buffalo Bills went into cardiac arrest during the game, during a non-contact injury, which is serious because it means that the body's supposed to be at baseline, things like that. It wasn't an inciting incident where they slammed heads together, and that was the moment where the gentleman made a tackle, stood up, walked a couple steps, and then fell over. Is in critical condition and being taken care of by some of the best, some of the brightest, and some of the greatest to do in the medical field. And I don't just say that because you put the belief in the people that are doing, but because, I mean, the guy had CPR done on him. He's a professional athlete.
Yep.
He had a heartbeat when he went to the stadium, or went from the stadium to the medical center. And all the parties involved, the Bills, the Bengals, and the NFL, the Players Association,
Yep.
I think are doing all the right things. The game was postponed, then delayed, and the game itself is to be replayed in a later date. They're going to decide what to do with that later, but they're more concerned that Damar Hamlin is made sure that he is okay and safe and things like that.
Made sure that he's
So,
okay and that his fellow players are emotionally supported.
Yes, we're pulling for you three. Wish nothing but the best of health and fortunes going forward, and go Bills. Now onto your regularly scheduled program.
Starting with a Twitch ban. Have you heard of Battle State Games?
Should I have
I didn't recognize them by developer name, but they created Escape from Tarkov, which
Okay.
you should recognize.
Yeah.
This isn't their first ban, merely the latest. The reason is currently unknown, but they usually have hopped on Twitch a bunch and talked about upcoming patches and stuff like that. The last ban was because one of them had an unloaded gun that they were being stupid with on stream, and Twitch was like, no.
so simple? It's so simple. I have such bad ADHD and I do so many things on stream. Yet there you are, finding like the 10 things you can't do and doing it.
So, so that's Battle State Games. It's probably not going to be a long ban. They'll probably be back before we know it, talking about the next upcoming patch for Escape from Tarkov. But that's who I've got for a Twitch ban this week. Having a little bit of a rough past 7 days. But there are things to look forward to, Dave, if you can tell
Oh.
us what we've got coming up.
I would be excited now that
Because we have releases again.
Yes, and tomorrow, no, Thursday, coming to your Nintendo Switch, a game like none other, a game so good it doesn't even have a trailer to show you your nerd vision. So Steve found us some still images,
Okay.
or did you find a gameplay trailer?
Found a gameplay.
Steve found a
gameplay trailer.
gameplay trailer.
All hail
of
Steve.
Hold down your hat,
Nerd Vision.
Spoder. In Nerd Vision, it is Tumbleweed Destiny. We're
What?
starting off strong with literally the strongest game I could possibly find to definitely be appearing on the shovelware shack in the near future.
Is this basically?
It's the shack,
Is this just Tumbleweed Simulator?
You are potentially between 1 and online 16 players playing as a tumbleweed. You grow, you tumble, you learn, you express emotions.
Oh my god.
It's ridiculous. It's to be totally honest, I was going to play this as more of like it's a serious game, but picture someone watched Goat Game and went, but what if with Tumbleweed?
Yeah, someone watched this CGP Grey video, The Trouble with Tumbles, and was like, yes, Maximum Havoc.
Yep. So you are a tumbleweed. You wander this little idyllic town. You collect things. Exactly, Vladdy. Rollin', rollin', rollin'. Just you keep on rollin'. All you do is rollin', tumbleweeds. And as you see at the bottom, there's a little how fast you're moving, how far you've moved.
Yeah.
You collect tumble points. This is the third game
I love games
from
like this.
Kimidori Soft. They've made Lost Bubbles and Lost Egg 2, which gives you an idea of what sort of gameplay you got from
Okay.
previous games. But this is one of those shovelware games that I'm not going to lie, when I saw it, I just thought to myself, oh, it's so cute and inoffensive. It's just got to go. And it
It's
has to
wonderful.
be... It's going to set the whole tone for 2023 in gaming. It's going to be cute. It's going to be kind of crap. But at the end of the day, you're going to have fun with it, and you're not going to spend more than $19.99 on it.
I look forward to that being our year in gaming. Cute, kind of crap, but you have fun, and it doesn't break my wallet. I look forward to it.
Quote me.
That last one's not going to happen, but 3 out of 4.
Oh yeah, there's a Dead Space remaster coming out very soon that I am going to be spending all the ducats on.
Meanwhile, Callisto Protocol has been getting such bad reviews. I watched Zero Punctuation, and Yahtzee referred to it as who we now know was the less talented person who worked on Dead Space. Because the creators kind of split and did their own thing, and one of them did Callisto Protocol, and everyone's like, Dead Space creator making it's the one that didn't. Okay.
Oh, I was one of the people that saw the words from one of the co-creators of Dead Space, and it was like, please be the part of Dead Space that I liked and not the part of Dead Space I didn't like. I
Yeah.
never played Callisto Protocol, so I can't necessarily say that it isn't a Dave-approved game, but
From what we've heard, it's not as good.
I'm looking forward to trying it, but I'm not trying it at $70.
Yeah.
The next game, I am breaking the rules because this one is technically coming out in 8 days, but I feel it's pertinent.
Dave?
Because I know. Rules are meant to be broken, and this is actually one of the first times that I've done a game that's longer than. So everyone buckle in, because you had Tumbleweed Destiny, and now I want this game to get some attention, because I do really like the visuals of it and the idea of it, and so I want people to maybe buckle down and buy it if you decide you do like it, and give you
Okay.
more time to get into it. It is coming out on the
What
11th.
the hell is that Tumbleweed doing? Is it fighting a troll?
Yes,
what
it
the
is.
What the fuck? Okay.
Exactly.
Next game.
Tumbleweed Destiny!
Next game.
This game, coming out on the 11th for the Switch, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, and the Series X, and Windows,
Okay.
is called Children of Silent Town. You play as the hero Lucy. who grows up in this little town that's surrounded by monsters. So people disappearing isn't really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But Lucy takes it upon herself when she feels she's old enough to go on this journey and do these things with her friends to try to figure some of it out on her own. And that's all the teasing that you get in all the blurbs about the game.
Okay.
And the trailers and things really, like, the art style speaks to me in a big way. And the idea of... Vladdy, if I've learned anything, children are scary, especially within proximity to corn.
Meanwhile, I saw a Twitter thread today that was saying you eat corn. Every single day of your life you've eaten corn because of how corn is used in, like, everything.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
So children are always in proximity to corn.
Yes.
Children are always scary.
Children are. As someone that professionally works around children, children are terrifying. The good news is, if you just remember that they are little people... I mean, there's no playbook for it, but you just remember that for yourself.
Remember, they're scared of you less than you're scared of them.
Yes.
Run.
They really aren't scared of you at all. Vladdy inhales deeply. But this game... This game, to me, it struck all the right chords. The fact that it's on multiple platforms, it looks like it's not going to be one of those games that you're going to have to sink 300 hours into. I have a feeling it is going to be a popcorn-sized game, but no one's ever seen the monsters that are in the town and things like that. And I have a feeling this game comes out with a pretty interesting story in the end. And
It
damn it
looks
all,
like it'll be interesting to try, yeah.
damn it all if it didn't get my attention. So that's Children of Silent Town coming out on the 11th, breaking the mold of the games coming out in the next 7 days because it's coming out in 8.
And speaking of breaking the mold, coming out tomorrow is, we're not looking at a video game. We are looking at a piece of motion entertainment. It is the second season of The Bad Batch.
Yeah!
And we talked about this a week or two ago as far as it's coming out tomorrow, but Willow is still airing. And we'll get to Willow in a second. But so for 2 weeks, there's going to be overlap with 2 different Lucasfilm series coming out on the same day. And then after that, Willow Season 1 will be done, and it'll be just Bad Batch. A little surprised with that timing there. But I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoyed Season 1 of The Bad Batch. Like, their intro as part of the last season of the Clone Wars was a little weird. But, like, when they were, given their own thing, and you weren't like, hi, I'm waiting on other storylines to conclude, please. Their season 1, like when they had their own show rather than kind of being the backdoor pilot in another show, I really enjoyed it and really liked how it played out. I liked how they brought a bunch of other stuff in. I love how Dave Filoni was like, hey, are you traumatized from Order 66 yet? How about now? Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to season 2. Willow Star Wars crossover when?
I would pay a lot of money for that.
There was a plan back in the 80s or early 90s for there to be a book series that would link Willow to Star Wars. That would actually have them...
couldn't be.
Right, that would actually have them formal canon for the accepted standards of canon at the time, for them to be linked as one. I'm pretty sure in that time it might have been another decade later, something like that. Obviously, that didn't go through, but I guess it's not off the table.
Did you watch the first season of Bad Batch?
I did, yeah.
Did you finish the first season of Bad Batch?
Off and on. I have it on in the store, and then I look up, oh, hey.
Have you watched enough that you have a decent idea of what happens during the season?
Yes.
Okay.
Season
1,
I know
spoilers
who
perhaps
the characters are. I have an idea of their motivations and who they are as characters, but I haven't watched very many episodes of it. Now, again, not that it didn't hold my interest, but there's about 10 minutes of viewing time I have a month.
Yeah. I will say
this had it for a little while.
It was one of those series where, like, it was, 12 episodes, I think, for season 1?
Yes.
So there was a little bit of, like, okay, can we get back to this plot? There are enough characters that, like, all right, cool, I appreciate this character getting their own thing this episode. Oh, next episode 2,
I noticed,
come on, can we get back
I will
to what
say,
Omega's
I watched
doing?
it enough to notice the arcs where it was like, ooh, you're giving us 2 servings of this arc involving these 3 and leaving out these. Well,
Yeah.
it involves every episode involves all the team, but like it's
There's
heavy
one where
these,
obviously,
these
yeah.
teams and like these guys are like, we'll hang back at base, like it's like okay,
Like default is Hunter, Omega, and then like the others as supporting characters get their own time going as well. I enjoyed it. It was pretty well paced. Well, not
Do you
like,
think this getting a season 2 will finally start? Because, in my opinion, and please chat, correct me if you disagree or things like that. Disney and Lucasfilm still doesn't really put as much belief in the animated stuff as they do into the live action stuff.
I disagree.
In my opinion, in so much as like this is getting dropped the same time that they're kind of dropping it in succession with Willow while they're still going on.
I mean, when Wednesday comes, I'm gonna watch Bad Batch first rather than Willow because partially because Star Wars and the cultural conversation, whatever. If I'm 2 days late on watching it, I'm gonna get spoiled on what happened that episode.
Yeah.
Willow, nobody's watching it. I'm not gonna get spoiled for something on Facebook because like there's not like mad memes coming out.
Careful about
for
your
Willow.
carrier pigeons, then. Right?
Yeah. So no, not on Twitter too much either. Yeah. So, I think that Clone Wars has always been, like considered a really good television, especially in its later seasons.
Yeah.
And the fact that they came back and did a final season of Clone Wars with Disney that just like blew most of Mandalorian out of the water, even after watching, Mandalorian came afterward, but like, I mean, that was really good, but like, have you seen the final season of Clone Wars? The Fall of Mandalore arc? I think that Disney does have faith in their animated stuff, just the same as live action.
Good.
So
Good. I'm glad to hear that just because working retail.
There is
did
enough.
not see as much in the way of like pushing the animated characters and things like that as much as I saw a whole hell of a lot of lookalikes of this character and that character and this merch and that merch.
I mean,
And, like,
I mean, Mando blew up. Like the child is everywhere.
pre-Mando though, like.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, okay. So I mean, but pre-Mando is also not like basically pre-Star Wars on Disney Plus.
Yeah, kind of.
So like Disney did produce that last episode of Clone Wars, but as far as like the movies are always going to be pushed more than any of the shows.
That's true.
That said, again, I think that the merch push behind Grogu in particular, but Mando, was absolutely astounding. And again, I think it's just that one character that really captured that imagination. Like people that don't watch Star Wars posting memes of Grogu holding a spatula, it's something spatch with the cake. I don't even remember what the stupid thing is, but like, careful with your vroom, otherwise you're gonna end up in the ditch. Like just memes with Grogu because he's cute and adorable, spread far and wide. So good of them to get merch on that. But like within the context of the show, still cool and awesome. But like that's why there's so much merch of Grogu is because it extends beyond that.
Is it okay at this point when people go like, do you have any Baby Yoda stuff, to look them square in the eye? Can you do full cam? And just go, he has a name. It's Grogu. Okay. Thank you.
That button doesn't work. Steve got us midway through that.
Even better for effect. Like, is it okay to do that to people yet? Like, really? Like,
I'm sorry, do I have a what? No, we there hasn't been a show about 900 years before Empire Strikes Back with Yoda, so we haven't seen Baby Yoda. I will accept the child, and I will accept Grogu. I will not accept Baby Yoda anymore.
I want chat. What's your opinion during convention season? Should I get in people's faces and be like, I don't know who that is. I got Grogu stuff and I got young Yoda stuff. I don't have Baby Yoda. Like,
I think if they seem like the person who's gonna actually you over anything, you beat them to the punch. Otherwise, just be like, yes, we have some Grogu stuff. and do the polite.
Lily's lottery. Yes, please. All right, good.
You do
I
the polite
do-
correction of like, oh yeah, I've got some Grogu stuff over here.
Oh, no, I will say I always do I use whatever people's pronunciations are of a thing.
Yeah.
Unless I have no idea what you're trying to lead to. Steve's watched my face when that happens.
It's not a paddle. It's an Xbox controller.
Who says
will
paddle?
never.
What area is that from?
Old people area.
Because
Is it old
like
people?
Pong had paddles, and like pre-Atari Game Crash, whatever, they were often referred to as paddles.
Yeah. I realized in all the excitement, I forgot to start the snack prediction, so I'm going to change the timing on it. Don't worry. 10 minutes is being taken off the timer.
Gotta use your fast fingers.
Because I was going to start a prediction for what do you call controllers, and I was like, no, wait. We already have a prediction going on. But
God, there are 4 options.
my roommates in college called it a paddle, and I literally almost had a small stroke at Morrisville.
Yeah.
When I literally I wanted to understand.
I would get that like when I was working at Game Notes. I got it so much. Like I don't know if it's regional or what. It's just like.
Is it a Central
why?
New York thing, kind of?
I don't think so. God, I never called it that. They were joysticks or controllers, and they were joysticks when they were a joystick with like a button, Atari.
My butt.
Or they were controllers by the time that using the Intellivision one. Of course, that also looks like a remote control. So I don't know, man. Gamepad maybe, never paddle. Mom might have called it paddle once or twice, and then like Dad corrected her. Or I corrected her because I had no tact. I was too young. I don't remember. All I know is she doesn't do it anymore. To the best of my knowledge, I don't know, Mom.
Butter Mom, what is this?
So that's what we've got coming out. A couple of a weird-looking game, a cool-looking game. Also, the weird game looks cool and the cool game looks weird. And Bad Batch. So that's what's coming out in the next 7 days.
Don't miss out. Don't tell them. Don't say we didn't warn you.
Paddle game controller on Wikipedia. While I look this up, a game controller with a round wheel and one or more fire buttons. So yeah, using Pong or that one shows, well, the tennis. Yeah, that was Pong. So the Atari 2600 came with paddles, but could also come with a joystick, which would be a separate kind of controller.
Okay.
So paddle would be this kind of thing.
That in and of itself makes a lot of sense, but
And so it was called a paddle and marketed as such. And so people that were around when these were being aggressively marketed with paddles would still call it that. Just no. Anyway, what have you been playing with your paddles?
So yesterday, I got the distinctive pleasure of playing more Valheim on Love Alex stream.
Wonderful.
We have the Mistlands is so much fun, man, because we ran into this big old dwarf fortress thing, and there were dwarf mages, and there were some dwarf archers, and then the game narrator was like, "Yeah, this is a collection of dwarves that haven't been around other dwarves for a while." And so they basically, in the subtext of things, went like, just be careful, you will eventually offend them and they will, be mad at you. And by that, they meant that those things turn into little dwarven bearded killing machines of our party almost immediately. And so the stream turned into...
What kind of things do you do to offend them? Do you tell them how to find a bath bomb and they go,
ah! So there's no... They talk the dwarven language is imperceptible to us, the Norse players.
Okay.
But they do speak Common or English to us, and they'll say things like "Hey, look out over there," or this, that, and the other. And then we turned, and there was some enemies coming, so we all fought together. And then I realized in the middle of combat, I was like, "Oh, Alec got killed," and then I was like, "Oh, Pat got killed." I was like, "Oh, they're attacking me!" And it was the dwarves attacking us. And then they just stayed mad about it. And every time we would go there to try to collect our gear and stuff, they would also kill us. And there was one dwarf hunter that wandered into the mist and was Ramboing me. He
What,
Ramboed
did
me
someone like kill an enemy, but blood splattered on a dwarf, and blood feud?
I tried to figure that out, and I did actually rewatch the stream from Alex's perspective, because Alex is
Okay.
the first one that died. And no, none of us perceptively did any damage to one of the dwarven players. It just looks like a little timer went bing, and they went, "Well, time to kill the tall guys." Like
They use a weapon with two blades. No, they use swords that are only bladed on one side. Death to the outsiders, or something. Just like, something about your battling style is
their
uncouth.
bears not be 3/4 of their body. They must pay.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they certainly had no cause or causality, and we definitely didn't spend the rest of the stream just trying to tactically murk those motherfuckers. And we did. We finally took over. We finally killed all of those particular, because they were called like damned dwarves anyway.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the game was like, oh yeah, they're just like the rest of the dwarf friends of yours that do all that work and help you out and
Yeah, no.
die really depressingly and then drop gold, and then you find gold randomly in the woods and you're like, friends. Oh god. I don't get definitely upset about it or anything. You guys should watch Love Alex streams when I do this. I get really upset. Like, people are like, oh, I found gold. And you hear me in the back going, ah! Like, they called it a family! They're my family! They were so nice to me that one time when I really needed help. Because when you die, you lose all your shit.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to celebrate the passing of this pile of gold. It is survived by Tanya and this pile of silver. No!
And I was so, like, I get so upset about it, but it's okay. The average dwarven friends handle the creatures in the Mistlands really well, unlike us, the players, because we don't, and it's really fun. Other than that, because I was spending a lot of time with family, I really didn't do too much gaming, except to play. My sister got Pokemon. For those of you that missed the weekend Wednesday, we helped my sister finally beat Shining Pearl.
Nice.
Palkia, FTW. We were going to kick that motherfucker off the team. We gave him one last college try, and he fucking pounded through the Elite Four and pounded into that last team and won us the day. So expect some Palkia cards to be on the weekend Wednesday set after that really cool event.
Nice.
So because of that, my sister was under her husband's very fine and good rules of Demon Dragon and Claire, just la 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 la. She's not allowed to buy games unless she beats the games that she currently has. So she beat that one, and then she got to get another Pokemon game and a copy of Animal Crossing, because my sister is who she is and she gets what she wants. So she got 2 games for the cost of beating one. But so the last week I spent trying to catch her up, and then inevitably she did what she usually does, which is she gets better at me and everything, and then I'm kind of done with it. So,
Wow, Dave, that felt like there were decades of history in that sentence.
oh my God, yes. Everything. My sister is much more talented at me than literally everything we do. I love her dearly, but my God, again. But she figured out Pokemon. She's having a great time with it, and I'm really excited for her. She is now in the Weekend Wednesday Discord, so she'll probably appear to ask questions, try to get some Pokemons, ask Steve for help with Pokemon Go. Thank you for all that help, Steve, by the way. Our producer, Steve, MVP of Kurt Pogo. Did a little grind in Overwatch 2. They released another premium Reinhardt skin, and I'm sticking strong, people, in 2023 of not spending premium currency on skins in Overwatch 2 because it ain't gonna happen. I paid for the Battle Pass. Put some Reinhardt skins on the Battle Pass, you cowards. That's what I've been gaming and watching. What about you, Boater?
I've been playing a lot of Need for Speed Unbound. I mentioned that I started playing it, I think, last Monday, and I finished it yesterday. 8 days. I look back and it was a day and 15 hours, so basically 40 hours of playing to finish up the game. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. It's the first Need for Speed that I've really played through since Most Wanted, 2005. Yeah, like I had a lot of fun with it and kind of like predicting where things are going to try to go because like it's pulling a lot of pages from Need for Speed Most Wanted, as well as some other stuff that did well in games that came before. So I'm like, oh well, I bet this. Ultimately wasn't correct, but it was fun to do that. The racing mechanic mostly was fun.
I feel hours of frustration in that mostly.
In Most Wanted, you enter the game with a BMW M3 that you have for like 10, maybe 15 minutes. You'll win a few races, you make some bank, and then you enter a blacklist race, and your car is sabotaged and taken from you, and you're thrown in jail. You come back out, the guy who took your car is on top of the blacklist, and the actual game starts with you getting some cheap car and working your way all the way up to win it back from him.
Did you find the M3 in Unbound?
I did.
Good.
So in Unbound,
Sounds like fun.
so that's Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005. Unbound, you get your choice of 3 starter cars that have, and I'm gonna spoil the prologue here, but
Not the first 10 minutes of the game.
the first hour or so, you choose one of 3
Holy
characters.
crap!
You choose one of 3 cars, which I chose a 88 Lamborghini Countach. You also have the choice of like a Charger and a Nissan Silvia something. You race with it, you upgrade it over a few days. It's you and this other character Yaz had been working on it, and you're just driving around competing all together. It's Pokemon with cars. I mean, I kind of do want to get them all. So
Ooh!
I mean, that would take a lot more post-game stuff for me to buy all the cars, but for maybe an hour, you're driving around in this car, you're upgrading it, you're getting attached to it, and then at the end of it, at the end of that prologue, Yaz drives off with your car. Time skip 2 years later, and she rolls back into town with your car to organize this great big tournament that's going to take place over the course of a month. And someone helps you bankroll to get some shit starter car to work your way up and take your car back.
My
My
I'm already
shit starter
so
car.
broke, and I want to play this game so bad
It is
now.
currently on sale in the Steam Winter Sale for another day or two for 40% off. That's on PC, obviously, and not on console.
For like
so
30 instead
that
of...
would bring it to like 35 or 40.
Oh, that's so within budget.
I played it on Xbox Series X, and it's gorgeous, and I love it. So we're talking Need for Speed Unbound.
By the way, nice to see you, friend.
Like my shit starter car was a Ford Crown Victoria, and I said, "Well,
Of course you picked the cop car. Of
yeah,
course you
I'm
picked
gonna
the cop
rehab
car.
it." I figured I would rehab the cop car and give it a new life as a tuner street
Make
racer.
every
Gave
single
it-
person in
gave it
front
a
of you
body
go
kit,
exactly at the
lowered
speed
it,
limit because in their head they don't remember if you're still a cop car or not.
Well, first off, I got aftermarket headlights to change the profile a lot, and also I'm passing someone doing 200, so normal cop behavior. It's painted matte purple and has ACAB spray painted on the side.
Hey, man.
Except that I couldn't just do a sticker that said ACAB because it was caught by the game's profanity filter. So I had to do it as 2 separate pieces and mush it together. All cops are bastards.
How is that? What?
It's a restrictive filter, so I pieced it together.
Weenies!
Yeah. So, but yeah, had a great time putting that car together. Over the weekend, our friend Mina was in town, and we were hanging out, and I was like, I'll play the game. We're basically all just sitting in the living room, doing our own thing independently of each other. And they both look, I'm like, why don't you have that painted like a cop car? So with both of them encouraging me to do so, I repainted it to like black, white doors, put the unit number on top, 69. Put police on the side to serve and protect, all this stuff, and it just looked amazing. So it was a lot of fun. So I mentioned the frustration. As you go, I mentioned it goes over the course of a month. There are 4 weeks. The first one, you need to get a A-class car in order to compete. The next week, you need to have an A-plus class car. The next week, S, and then S-plus. And I upgraded the Crown Vic through the first 3 weeks. But on Friday of the third week, because you have a limited amount of time, you got to get money and upgrades and such during each day of the week, day and then night, with heat building up there, and then at the end of each session, at the end of the day, and then at the end of the night, you bank your cash that you've made. If you get busted, any cash in your wallet, gone. And that happened a few times. I definitely lost 90 grand at one point in my pocket.
All my Elden Ring plays just.
Yeah. And then at the end of the night, your heat resets, so you start out the next day with 0 heat. Heat is kind of funny because as it builds up, they will spot you faster, and it takes a lot longer to get away from chases, and of course they send more stuff at you during a chase. But when you're heat 0, they don't give a shit what you do. I could do donuts around a police car traveling down the freeway. If I don't touch him, he's just going to be like, "We've got that 2440 here, looks pretty suspicious. Dispatch, I think we found that street racer." Doesn't actually make to chase you at all while you're heat 0 until you hit him. Or again, your heat goes up at the end of race events. So the more you do, the more your heat goes up, and you got to balance like cash versus whatever. Absolutely love your shades. Does it make you take more speed when you run due to hydrodynamics? I don't run.
The program's called the Nerd Glasses Podcast, not the fit people who do fit people.
It makes me
things.
more aerodynamic for when there's all this hot air going back and forth. Friday of the third week, I'm trying to get my stuff up into S tier, and I'm trying to get the 100 grand that I need for the buy-in to Saturday's race. But also on Friday, there is an event with a $64,000 buy-in to get a Polestar 1. And I'm like, I want that car. And so I fail that because the AI, a lot of times, is very unfair. If you aren't on top of the leader within the first 3 or 4 turns, forget it. They're gone. Like, they will rubber band to catch up to you to a certain extent and not slow down for you once they're past you.
Okay.
So, like, I had a really tough time in S tier. And if you don't have enough money on Saturday, then you get to play Friday again. You get to it's basically new Friday plus.
Oh.
You take your current cash and your upgrades and all that and just do Friday's events again. So I got to try for that Polestar not once, not twice, and not thrice, but 4 times. I replayed Friday so many times. Steph could tell you it was probably a couple hours that I spent on just the one day trying to get that car and enough cash for the Saturday buy-in. Eventually, I got it. It was the best feeling I had all game when I finally won that race. That Polestar, I then upgraded really fast, and it let me cruise through the last week of the game, which is slightly oversimplifying, but you go into the last event, and you need one of each car. So while I had taken my Crown Vic up through S, I then needed to be like, Steph, pick a car. Yes, this Lancer Evo that we have? All right, great. We're going to make this our A-plus car now. You get to decorate this one, and I'll figure out something else for our A-tier car. So I had the 4 cars going in. I already talked last week about how I really enjoy the art style, the anime cel-shaded characters, the graffiti tags. It was, having now completed the game, it was a lot of fun. I'm really glad I played through it. The only last annoying thing is that while you're playing the game, there's stuff on the radio about a mayoral race, where the current mayor has been stepping up all this enforcement on the police to crack down on street racers. And then she has someone who is running against her, who is the most ineffectual political candidate ever. Mr. Parker, who would you say, we need to worry about the real enemies of Lakeshore. Who would you say the real enemies of Lakeshore are? The Illuminati, meat packers, women. All right, I'm out, says the interviewer. It's just like the worst. And unfortunately, that doesn't conclude. There's no like, hey, here's the events of, here's how that election actually went. And I kind of wish when it looked at the next week's calendar that there was a little tick that said Election Day, so that there would be a little bit of like post-game story going. Anyway, aside from that little like, oh, cool, the game just ends. There's this awesome, great ending cutscene, and then the game ends, and there's like no dialogue at all post-game. But for the 40 hours that I put into it, really enjoyed it. Absolutely worth it. If you haven't played a Need for Speed in a long time, this is a great game to get back into it with.
Nice.
If you haven't played one before, it might be a little hard to get into. Like if you're used to Forza Horizon, this is a different kind of arcade racer than that is.
Okay.
It is a little driftier. The cars aren't quite as weighty at times. For a lot of people, the graffiti tag style is a turnoff, and you can't turn those off. You can at most downplay them. But like I loved it. It made it really easy to see what's going on with me and the other vehicles. So
I'm glad to hear that game didn't just turn into a giant smolder in the garage.
it is getting really critically well acclaimed, and players are a little more mixed on it again because of the tag thing. The music, I minded it less as we went. Yeah, we'll go with that. It's not my genre. There's maybe one song in there that I might listen to outside of the game. I personally don't care about the musician A$AP Rocky, who yet is a character in the game as well. Like, he's IRL
Cool.
musician who is put into the game as an S+ tier racer, and he's the one running the takedown events and stuff like that. I'm like, man, if I liked this artist, I would love this stuff. And I'm just sitting here like, oh my god, shut up. I know I have a special mission with this guy. Fortunately, I had people over. This was like Sunday morning after New Year's, and I'm just like driving around the place, not quite able to hear him, and I'm like, that's probably for the best. Music wasn't my thing. But so the game is a little polarizing for a few different reasons with players, but I wish I could say I recommend the demo, because I got into Most Wanted back in the days of, early 360, go on Xbox Live, download a demo, try it, and then get the game. And I don't think that there's a demo for Unbound, and I wish that there was. Definitely try it if you can. I don't know if it's on Game Pass, but whatever. Look into ways to try it.
It's not.
It's not. Thank you, Steve.
What?
I don't think.
No way! No way! It's not on Game Pass!
It's an EA game, so they've got their own EA Play stuff going.
Oh, so it's on the EA.
It's on
Boo! Boo, EA!
if you're an EA Play subscriber, then I think you've got it. Also, they got some extra bonus cars. They could actually get the Most Wanted M3 as a purchasable car. Whereas if you don't, you get to drive it for a mission, but it's not something you can come back to.
So, the votes are in. The snack we shall try is, one of our perpetual losers in the red bean mochi.
Is it still good? Is this one that you had to
Yeah. I certainly looked around for expiry dates and things like that, and
Is the expiration date even in Arabic lettering?
it's it's certainly a proud
numbering.
product of Taiwan that definitely doesn't have any sort of
All right, fortune favors the bold.
Fortune favors the bold. I can also say that I purchased this box from the guy who every year at Saratoga Comic-Con is literally at the booth next to us, and he knows that I like mochi, and he's like, I got more mochi. So I trust that I've been buying mochi for 6 years from this guy. This wasn't the year that he was like, haha, fuck that kid. I just remember him, English is clearly not his first language.
Okay.
And, one of the years, at Insane Games, our booth, we have multiple staffing. We all get to go around. We have a lot of fun at conventions. Things like that. Other booths, they're not so fortunate, and they don't have the structure that Dan and Mike create for us.
Yeah.
So I walked over to them specifically because they're always right next to us. And I went to him, I was like, hey, do you want a drink or something or anything else? And he looked very shocked. And I was like, I don't know if this is a language barrier thing. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going over to get food and things. Do you want anything? And he literally kind of like wells up and he goes, "You're the first person to ever ask me that at conventions." And I literally was like, "Bro, that sucks!" Like, he's so nice. Like the one time we needed change, like 3 years ago, he was like, he literally did not have much change, and he was like, "Yes." Like,
Wow.
like,
Fortune favors the bold was said by Pliny the Elder before he sailed closer to the exploding Mount Vesuvius and died. He's credited as the originator of that phrase. You know, considering the things that we've tried on the program, I think the phrasing is still accurate.
notice the sealed wrapping also doesn't have any sort of expiry date on it, but does have one of these fun oxygen absorber packets.
Oh,
It
it
does
has a
say in
candy
English,
packet.
"Do not eat."
It has a candy packet.
They come in these nifty little cups of 6. I'll hold this stuff up to the camera in a minute.
I've never had mochi.
Oh, I love
I had to figure out when I'd drop that on Dave.
Steve. Parvu.
He's been patiently waiting off camera.
Border, which one would you like?
I'll grab the other middle piece, I guess.
I will, now that we've opened this package, eat pretty much the rest of
Yeah,
the
thank you, I
mochi that
appreciate
is. It's basically a dough pillow with red bean paste on the inside of it. And I know I got Mike to try one of these, and he didn't hate it, but he was not like, you know,
He wasn't wild about it.
he wasn't over the moon about it. But Mike would eat again. Dan, on the other hand, touched it once, and in fairness, it is not a solid, it is not a liquid, but it is squishy.
Yeah, it's
And
squishy texture.
Oh,
You just hork the whole thing?
well,
All right.
you don't have to, but I do.
Hold on.
Mochi.
I like it.
It is better, fresher,
I'm sure.
but anyone want a second one?
No, thank you.
You're good. Go ahead.
I'm gonna have 2
He's just
mochi.
gonna tear through those.
I'll save you guys for the ride home. I'm gonna tell myself I'm gonna save him for later, but I won't.
I think the ride home is an admirable goal. I don't know if you'll get there, but I think it's achievable, Dave, if you put your heart to it.
Border and I did have a lot of news stories, but damn it all, 2023 is looking like a good year of us, once again, over-preparing and not having enough time to do all the stories, but...
I mean, if I thank you for letting me talk for like 10 minutes about Unbound because
But please.
Because like I think when we come to a game that like obviously I enjoyed it. I played 40 hours of it in 8 days. And to finish it. So yeah, I like being
Potential
able to share that
Game
kind
of the Year nominee?
It came out last year, so
Closed door on time put in. Sorry, pal.
did we include December releases? Wait, shit, did it come out in November?
It came out like December 2nd.
Okay, maybe if we
Wow, that's basically November.
if we allow December of the year before because we air during December, then maybe. Anyway, what you got?
Nerdies this year. Be there. So, December 30th, an Overwatch League team announced that, more specifically, the Philadelphia Fusion announced that they are going to be moving their headquarters from downtown Philly. How you doing? And they're going to be moving to where the professionals have been broadcasting from this whole time anyway, since the pandemic, which is Seoul, Korea.
Okay.
So they are rebranding the team as the Seoul Infernal.
Okay,
I like it.
that sounds cool.
I like the move of it. The ownership group is still the Philadelphia-based ownership group that owned it, the Flyers, and a couple
okay.
other things anyway, but they want to seemingly do this to make an ease of transition, both for the athletes, for the team, and for
Yeah.
everything, not to have all the logistics here, but the name Philadelphia, this and that and the other.
yeah.
Philly Fusion, they're a competitive Overwatch League team. They're never really, in my opinion, and Steve, please feel free to weigh in on it, especially, or anyone in chat. I've never really seen them as like, hey, they're going to be big contenders. But like they're always in the mix of, hey, they're going to be top of the charts. Just never, I don't know, San Francisco Shock, they win.
Yeah, they get some wins, they play, they can be entertaining to watch.
So if you are a fan of of Overwatch League and things like that, the Philadelphia Fusion skins are still available, but I have a feeling once the Overwatch League season restarts in a couple of months,
So go ahead. Finish
those
that.
will disappear and the rebrand will happen. And so kind of, I think just grab a couple Philly Fusion for your mains, just to have them to remember that time.
You mentioned that a lot of teams operate out of Seoul. You said
Yes. So what they did was when the pandemic hit and the shutdown happened, the Overwatch League was originally all the players were brought to the continental U.S. And they either the teams that were located inside the continental U.S. were brought in, and the teams that played from outside of the U.S. were where they usually are, but then were brought in for tournaments and events and things like that. During the pandemic, and I know we did talk about this at the time, but they were then sent to where a majority of the players were actually from, so that they didn't have to deal with the logistics of, okay, you're quarantined for 2 weeks, and then we're going to buy you a plane ticket. We're crossing you over into here. And in some cases, some of the players were from, non-mainland countries where coming to the U.S. was, once you go back there, it's, you got a couple months and you got to wait for embargoes and this and that and the other to happen. So
my question is, like, are there multiple teams that operate out of Seoul? Are there multiple teams with Seoul as the location name?
Yes, there's the Seoul Dynasty.
Okay.
And now what will be the Seoul Infernal.
Okay.
And then there are obviously a couple different Chinese teams and things like that.
Okay, cool.
So it's regional, but they aren't like very far from each other as to where they're located and things like that. It's going to be interesting. Philly, you done good, but you done good enough.
We have a topic here from Nerdy Award-winning Bowl of Petunias. It's time for another NFT story.
Oh yeah! So I'm gonna link you guys
specifically Square Enix.
And exactly what you know Square Enix nowadays for.
And this is the kind of thing where, like, we thought, we wished, we hoped, we really wanted NFTs and blockchain and Web 3.0 to have all been left last year. Don't bring that energy into 2023. But Square Enix wanted to set the tone for the year and sent out a letter on January 1st saying that of all the different creative pursuits that Square Enix does, that they are, quote, most focused on blockchain entertainment. And when asked why...
I'm in the car.
Still got one more.
I'm in the car going.
You're not in a car, Dave. You're thinking about playing Unbound. You're in a car. Why would you do this? They said, well, it's a firmly established buzzword among business people. We're chasing the shiny thing. Like, last year's letter was also widely reported. If you remember, last year's letter was when Square Enix's president was poo-pooing over people who play games to have fun. He was like, play, people want to contribute and earn when they're playing. It's like, no, people want to play and have fun. Well, what's wrong with you? And so this one just, in addition to being, panned like that, also didn't actually lay any concrete plans for blockchain development. Didn't actually,
Nope.
say this is exactly what we're doing. Just said we're pursuing blockchain, and if you think that's a bad idea, then you're just confused.
Well, did you notice a bunch of times they go, we've been making a lot of blockchain payments and people were mad about it, past tense. And people in the past were very poo-poo of it, but here we are now doing, this and that and the other. More like Ruiners, we will absolutely have a special custom close in that regard. So do not worry. Your very little request will absolutely be done. Sorry we didn't immediately make that note. But Taco Pill, you got a small one, I thought, or did we close without doing it?
Oh, no.
Very sorry. Well, you know what? We'll do a doubly long one.
Yep. The past tense
they
thing,
kept saying past tense.
People were mad about it. Now they don't think about us at all.
People were mad about it, and now everyone is on board with us going for the future. Blockchain.
No, the actual truth was, if it was actually past tense, then it was. People were mad. Now they don't give us the time of day.
So I did do a little bit
Justice
of
for Taco. Yes.
fun Googling on the letter, and
Okay.
I had the letter open, and I clicked on the right, and I found the word find, and I typed in the word blockchain.
Okay.
And in the letter that I linked,
Can I make a guess?
yes,
8.
14 different iterations, different usage of the word blockchain. The specific letter phrasing, NFT, how many times do you think that appeared in the letter?
12.
17.
4, actually, which is, I know, weird.
Maybe because they know that phrase more than anything is like increasingly toxic. So they used blockchain, they used Web 3.0.
In fairness, and in the subtext of the letter, they might go for NFTs, they might go for cryptocurrency, they're going to be on the blockchain somehow.
Yeah.
They certainly
on the
are.
blockchain. Remember how people were talking about on the cloud 10 years ago?
Yeah. They're going to be riding on the blockchain to Big Town. Woo! Do you know how many times in the closer for Square Enix the words Final Fantasy were mentioned?
Together as a phrase, Final Fantasy?
Yes.
7.
Bagel. None. Not once. Final Fantasy 16 is on the horizon. Bagel. In their talk.
I feel like that was a trick question.
Like, I was pissed. The word final appeared once, and it was in the same sentence as a blockchain.
Well, this
Sentence,
is like an investor call, an investor letter, right? Investors don't give a shit about video games. They want to know the money.
They should give a really big crap.
No, this is
About-
late capitalism. They don't care what the product is as long as they get money.
Ugh.
A New Year's letter from the president. No, it's not necessarily doing. Oh my God, why?
Yeah, it was just those stats alone made my absolute head spin, and I couldn't leave it undone that not now kind of very skeptical about Final Fantasy 16, that it's not just going to be like and here's our hero N and his teammates F and T, where it's like, oh, I see what you did there, you gigantic sack of crap.
Hold on. So, Noct was the lead in 15.
Yes.
Hold on. Who were the others?
I don't
Hold
think
on.
they spelt out NFT.
No, but I need to know now. Gladius, or Gladio, something like that. So that's G. There's still 2 others. I found a new recipe. I think it starts with L, so I think we're safe. Ignis. Okay.
And
So I was wrong. Prompto. Okay, cool. So safe.
Yeah, and even as you get a little bit further down from the Final Fantasy main characters Googling, Noctis, Prompto, Ignis, God damn Final Fantasy,
What?
Gladiolus,
Gladiolus.
Gladiolus,
Okay, Gladio.
Arden, Lunafreya, and Regis.
Okay. So we're safe there, but we'll
Who
see.
wants to be the best cook ever?
But we'll see what happens in 16, I guess. Okay, that I think brings us to the bottom of the show.
These are things I can table.
Do make sure to check out the Table Topics channel on Discord. Sometimes things will get posted there. Sometimes they'll be saved for next week. Sometimes Dave will just take a picture of the page and be like, figure it out.
I think, you know what? I'm going to start doing that. I'm just going to, in the Table Topics, should I make another topic for it?
I think just
call it Dave's Pages. Like,
nah, throw it in Table Topics.
Okay. I'm just going to start posting, like, and I'll put a little X next to my scribbles for what stories were discussed. Did you know gaming does what Nintendo? We'll just
we'll tease that and discuss that on the Discord.
So this also kind of goes in with more like rigor mortis. Notice that I am not wearing my San Francisco Giants hat, as is a lot of my branding and things like that, and a baseball team that I do so love.
Yep.
But last night I was watching an NFL game while playing during Love Alex stream, and damn it all if the game didn't come to an absolute screeching halt when a player suffered an injury. Mm-hmm. And no news is good news in regards to that.
Yep, there hasn't been an update.
Health hasn't worsened, health hasn't gotten better. So I'm subscribing to that idea of no news is good news and more like that. But for all of us here and in so much in life, before I walk up to the camera and start yammering, man, life happens fast, doesn't it? We in the span of 24 hours have an NFL player in critical condition due to a non-contact injury. We lost a driver of great acclaim and great fame to a snowmobiling incident. And in so many ways and in so many others, Pele passing away this past week and so many other things. What we do in life and what we love is what we should pursue. And you should always look into the things you like and know that life's a journey and you certainly never get it right the first fucking 1,000 times. Because if you do, you didn't challenge yourself enough. You can always go back for seconds. You can always go back for more. There's never, you get one shot and then that's it. But just remember that, for God's sakes, life is a journey, not a destination. And in that journey and in that destination and things like that, there's going to be times that are bad. There's going to be times that are tough. There's going to be times that are just absolutely impossible to comprehend, to get an understanding of, to get a want and a hold of, as we all want to do. Mm-hmm. But just know that those times are just that. Just like the good, come the bad, come the imperceptible.
And when there are those times, like again, when we talk about the Bills player, show that the whole team was there for him. You know, while he's on the field and the medical team was doing their thing, they lined up around him and faced outwards so that, you know, he could have, you know, the privacy without the cameras and without the thousands of people looking in. Like, they were there for him even when he didn't know it. Like, there was no way that he could have been aware of that, but there were his teammates there for him. And you've got people there for you too, even if you don't necessarily realize the people that are in your corner, that are the people that are on the field with you, that are there for you and want to be there for you.
And just like the people on the field, on your team, and on your side, just remember that there's help out there. There's professionals that are willing to help in every and any type of situation. Get that help. If you need it, if you feel like you want it, even if it's not a need, if it's a, maybe I think I'm feeling a little, get that help. There's professionals out there that are more than happy to help, to get you through that moment, to do those things. What we're getting at and what we're beating around the bushes, and I've been doing this on the Weekend Wednesday because it bears a very important to denote and not to be afraid to say, suicide is not the answer. There is help out there. there is another day, and it will be there, and we need you to be there for that next day. Don't ever make a decision today that affects you being here tomorrow. Our live streaming doesn't happen without you. Life doesn't go on without you.
If you need the professional help, or if you even just turn to your teammates, turn to your friends, your family, whoever is there for you, whoever's on the field with you, look around, see them, find them. They want to help you. Let them.
But most of all, and many things, with the successes that you find, with the trials you go through, and things like that, no one in life does you better than you. Everybody can use whatever metrics they decide to weigh against whatever they have going on, whatever they're doing. All my family have houses, all my friends are all now married, or this or that or the other. Everybody has thousands of views, or they have millions of subscribers, or they do these things, and what's going on, this and that and the other. But just remember, they're not you. And they never will be. They never can be. Just as you can't be them. You can buy and do and emulate people as much as you want. But just remember, the things that made you uniquely you, that have made you the person that stands every day as a testament to the strength that you bring into your life, is right there. Brands, great. Identities, things like that, also cool. But you are the secret sauce that makes the recipe great. It's really awesome that we get to spend the time. And do know that your time spent, that your efforts put in, are incredibly valuable. Whether you see it on the front end in life, whether you see it on the back end later, know that your time and your efforts have value. And don't ever let people devalue them or demean them. Don't ever let yourself devalue or demean your time. It's important. It's just as important to go to work and do these things as it is to take 10 minutes to yourself and just sit on the shitter and watch TikTok videos. Just as important, whether you realize it or not, because you're not on your A game if you're not being who you are. Give yourself the time, give yourself a break every once in a while. Take the moment to take stock and take inventory. What am I stressing about? What am I dealing with? What can I do about it? Because problem solving all starts with an I think, I feel, I want. And then, from there, you have a roadmap, and you've already gotten on your way. Those answers can be filled in so many different ways, and things like that. But we do hope your road brings you, next week, back here with us to the Nerd Glasses podcast. And we appreciate you taking your time with us, guys.
Mm-hmm. Like I've told some of you before that I wouldn't be streaming if it wasn't for some of you that are in my my chat on a regular basis. Like, you're there for me while I'm doing my thing. I wouldn't be doing it if you weren't there, and I appreciate you guys being there. Whether it's here at Nerd Glasses or on Builder Bug.
In DM314, I feel yes. I definitely emulate that as well.
Yeah. So, thank you. Thank you for being here, whether it's here in chat or there for us as friends. Thank you. And
if no one has told you this week, always remember and never forget, let me be the first person to tell you, you are necessary, you are important,
and you are loved. Sorry, I thought I'd steal the end of your catchphrase there.
I love it. I'm happy. I'm glad. I like that that's my catchphrase. I like that, putting that out into the universe. Win, lose, or draw, you are loved. Always.
Thank you guys so much for being here on the Nerd Glasses podcast. We are going to take a really quick break as we go off here as the Nerd Glasses closes out. We're going to dry our eyes a little bit, move the set over, 5 minutes, then 10-minute countdown, and Steve will be here with The Shack. Starting at probably about 9:10 at this point. So make sure that you are back for that.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. And if you're not here for that, then we hope to at least see you next week, right here, 7:45 Eastern, for the Nerd Glasses podcast, right here on Insane Games TV. From all of us here, I've been Boater.
I've been Dave Mann.
That's been Steve, and we'll see you next time. Bye.